Shalom and welcome to Parasha Espresso, the weekly fix for spiritual lessons taken from the Parasha. Grab your coffee and let's take a look at the weekly Torah reading. Today we'll be looking at Parashat Shmini, which runs from Leviticus chapter 9 verse 1 to chapter 11 verse 47. Enjoy it, and don't forget to give us your feedback on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or via our website.
Do you have a craving for kale? Do you like to chew on chia seeds? Have a passion for papaya? Or would you rather eat a burger and chips? Whatever your preference, it's fair to say that our diets have changed drastically over the last 20 years or so. Some people are keen on eating as many of the superfoods as possible. Others want a high-protein diet for bodybuilding. Still others use the Atkins diet to reduce their carbs and lose weight. Whether you're a super healthy, super sport, super slim type of person, or a beer-guzzling, kebab-eating hedonist, we all love a good meal. I guess the famous saying is true: you are what you eat. Food is the main topic of our parasha this week. It's been quite a hodgepodge of different topics over the last weeks. We've had something resembling an IKEA instruction manual, followed by something like an Armani catalogue, and this week we're on to food. God gives us the diet that we're supposed to live by. No, it's not lox and cream cheese bagels or even hummus and falafel, but it is kosher. In this week's portion, God outlines a healthy diet for us. There's no mention of mixing milk and meat, that verse is in another portion, but of course we're not allowed to eat pork or shellfish. Neither are we, for that matter, supposed to eat insects or lizards or vultures, in case you've ever had the desire to, along with several other animals. God makes it very clear what we're supposed to eat and what we shouldn't. But what should we make of all of this? Why is God so concerned with our diet? After all, surely it doesn't really matter what we eat, as long as it isn't poisonous, right? Over the centuries, people have interpreted the laws of kashrut, kosher eating, differently. Some have claimed that God was trying to preserve our ancestors and keep them alive, and that the animals that he banned were animals that were unhealthy for us to eat. I'm sure that this is certainly part of it, and I can't imagine that eating a vulture would be particularly good for my health. But as we read the passage, we feel like there must be something deeper here. Rashi, the famous commentator, sees a spiritual meaning behind the text, and I do as well. Let's dig in. Just like the priests were given special clothes to wear to make them stand out, our diet was supposed to do the same thing. The other nations surrounding us didn't care what they ate as long as it tasted good. But God wanted us to be different, just as he was different, and so he told us to eat different food. But what does that mean for us today? Let's take it one step further and go back to the famous saying, you are what you eat. The food that we ate was supposed to be a picture for what our souls consumed. Just as you are what you eat physically, you are also what you eat spiritually. If you constantly hear people telling you that you are worth nothing, you start to believe it. If people tell you that they love you, you start to feel love. Whatever we consume in whatever way, it's going to have an effect on who we are as people, whether it be physical food or spiritual food. Unfortunately, we human beings tend to have an appetite for the unhealthy. It's much easier to slander people and say horrible things than it is to build people up. It's much easier to put ourselves before other people. It's much easier to get what we want at the expense of other people. So again, God is telling our ancestors to be different to the people around them. We should be consuming good, healthy food for our body and for our souls. The problem is we tend to junk out and consume whatever we crave, whether it's good for us or not. Thankfully, God knew us so well and he had a solution for the craving. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know where I'm heading. Around 2,000 years ago, as Yeshua suffered and died for us, and then was resurrected, he opened a way for us to change our craving. He ushered in the new covenant, prophesied in advance by the prophet Jeremiah, who claimed that God would one day write his Torah on our hearts. In other words, he would give us a craving to do what was right. He would change our very nature so that we would want what was good and not what was bad. I experienced this change very personally. I went from a bad-tempered punk who used and abused others to a completely different person, overnight, all thanks to Yeshua and God's new covenant. God had changed my taste. I must confess that I am not a health freak. I don't eat many superfoods, and I don't go to the gym every day. But I do know that I am what I eat. I am what I consume. What about you? Regardless of your physical diet, is your spiritual diet healthy? Or do you find yourself craving something more? I encourage you to come to the Messiah and allow him to change your life and give you a craving for what is truly good.
That's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed our Parasha Espresso. Please don't forget to subscribe to make sure you get the latest episodes. We'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or via our website at 𝗣𝗴𝗃𝗵𝘁.de.